We are Age Rich because we create remedies for life made by life. I'm Scarlett Vesper, aka Mrs. V, and founder of AgeRich.co, your go-to place for age rich remedies to help you find love, get rich, awaken your intuition, and feel free. So now let's open the remedy kit and discover why we're all age rich. Hello and welcome to Age Rich, and this episode is all about the leadership remedy. And it's a big one because leadership is such an important element in all aspects of personal and business life. So what is my remedy for leadership? Leadership to me has so many different kind of aspects to it. And if I speak from my own remedy and my own life, what I have learned is there's three parts to it. And the first part is really about collaboration. You know, the days of being very authoritarian has gone. Not that it doesn't exist, but I think there is definite resistance to that now as there's a growing number of people leaving, the great resignation. And that is because people want meaning in their life today. And hence the great resignation is they want to know when they go to work that they're doing something that is going to benefit the world, and also that they're going to be seen. They're going to be respected and they're going to be appreciated and valued for what they do. So I think as a leader, you have to come to the party knowing that you have to collaborate with your team. You have to take them on the journey with you. You have to have a vision that they can actually be part of. And so that collaboration is, the second part of that collaboration is allowing them to see what you have as a vision. And when they get aligned to your vision and your value and purpose, then they're more likely to enjoy what they're doing. They're more likely to perform a lot better, be much more productive. So generally, it's a better situation from all aspects. The other part to leadership, I believe, is working on yourself, because often I think what happens, and I saw it actually with my dad, who is a doctor, and he was not with us today, but it was very black and white for him as a doctor, because you're going in, you're doing surgery, and you have to be really super clear. This is what works. This is what doesn't. There's no grey area. And I was, of course, a nightmare because I was always asking why, and, what about this? And I was into alternative medicine. It was just a nightmare, honestly, because for him, how does he open what he has learnt to be absolute truth? And when you're dealing with someone's lives, you cannot doubt. Is there a different way to this? So I get that. However, I think today is having the strength behind being open and curious to everything is so important today. And I think it takes a strong mind, for example, to be a doctor, to be open as well, to keep learning, being open to learning and being curious and seeing how it impacts without it kind of moving your strength and ability to say this is right and this is the answer and this is what I need to do, because it is all in black and white, literally, in medicine today. However, having that openness is a balance. So I think with the openness and the curiosity, and keep working on yourself in order to stay open and strong, I think is a great way forward today. That's my remedy. Now, today we're going to be talking with the wonderful Carrie Benedet, who is a leadership coach specialising in education. She is an educator, and I love speaking with Carrie because she has this wonderful combination of culture, because she loves to travel, and the whole idea of the global earth and how it all connects. And then she has education, then leadership, and that entrepreneurship. So she has a wonderful trifecta and alchemy of skills there. So without further ado, let's meet Carrie. So I'm very excited in this episode to have the gorgeous Carrie Benedet on the show. Welcome.
How are you, Scarlett?
I'm good. I am so blessed to have you on the show and in my life. So I'm grateful that you're here to share all your wisdoms and remedies around your life and, of course, around leadership. So firstly, tell me, what is your life remedy?
Hashtag, just give it a red hot shot.
I love it. I love it. And it's so you. It's so you. So how did you get to that? Where did that come from?
I think the essence of that sort of came when I had a significant birthday. And around that time, we also had a huge movement in our children leaving home for various reasons. One was getting married, the others were going out to uni and living in different places. So we've got four children. Our living assets, I have four. I don't have a big share portfolio, but I've got four living assets.
I love that. I love
And they're
it.
called the licorice all sorts because basically we've got two that look similar. They've lost all their hair. Two that have got all their hair and have got the more olive skin. That's great. But even though they're different and they were allowed to develop their own voice as they were growing up, um, they still have very strong core values, and family is one of those. So like a lot of gals my age, we dedicated our whole life purpose was around part-time work or working plus being the mother role, and that's something about, that's not good or bad, it just is in how it was in those days. So when I had a significant birthday, and it started with a 5 and ended in an O, so I decided I was walking the Kokoda Trail in Papua New Guinea, and really it was to give thanks for being able to bring up my our four children, in freedom.
Mm.
And when I look back over the last decade, I just look back and go, number one, thank God I did it then, fitness wise. But secondly, it stayed with me. So that whole notion of trying to stay fit in that well-being space for a remedy for yourself. As you're getting older, you're getting more and more creaking going on. You're getting a bit grayer. There's a whole lot of sagging going, all that sort of stuff. So to keep that in mind, that's part of the remedy. Just give it a red hot shot. So I love doing some weights. I love walking, all that sort of stuff. And I love to have a drink with people. I like the people stuff. So that's my main.
But you look, from when I first met you, it's just from when you left education, you kind of stepped into yourself as an entrepreneur and getting out there and doing the red hot shot. There's been a big energy growth with you, and I think it's really indicative of the mindset that you have to have as we get older, versus it's all over and downhill.
And I'd even be honest and say to you, I probably didn't know myself very well because I ended up marrying fairly young, was pregnant within 2 weeks of being married. So a baby arrived. I left a full-time job, and stayed at home for a decade. So I sewed and designed beautiful gowns, beaded, and the kids all had mix and match outfits.
Of course they
So,
did.
uh, and you just get into that. So my voice was around the parent role,
Mm,
and the
mm,
partner role,
mm.
and so yeah, it's stretched out, and that's why I think this. We get this notion of I'm older and wiser. Well, I'm actually really happy to have found the time to be able to do it now. Actually, I'll tell you a funny story.
Mm.
My daughter said to me, just after she put a deposit on her first unit. She said, "Oh, thanks, Mum, so much. Can I borrow your checkbook just for the deposit?" Yes, I know that. I'll do that for you. And then she said to me, "Oh, Mum, I just don't want to be, 50 and finding myself." And then she stopped and she went, "Oh, I don't believe I just said that to you because that's about the time." And I went, lessons learned from the cherubs, those beautiful creations that we have. They're just, you learn so much from your kids. And I just go, now I'm watching her and I get, I said, I wonder sometimes whether my era, my age group of gals tried to do too much. Maybe we were our own worst enemies.
And look, I think it's so different in the world at the moment too. I think we have the
Yeah.
space and the kind of the support to find yourself. And I mean, everybody at the moment is looking for greater meaning, and
Yep.
you're seeing it certainly in the work you're doing with people in leadership. So yeah, I think we're just lucky in this time that we're able to have the time to find ourselves. I mean, I didn't have the life. I've never worked in corporate really. Well, I did for 6 years, but I've always been an entrepreneur. However, I'm just learning on a whole other level right now. So it's almost like I think it's a rite of passage that you have to kind of go through. Like nothing's wrong. It's just that we're
Yeah.
in that, and that's the whole age rich thing, that we live this lived life and we learn from it. And now it's like, oh, we should really love who we are and where we've become, out of it. So, I mean, for you, you've stepped into this leadership, you're leading yourself into this leadership coach role and expertise. So what remedies do you have for leadership? What would you like to share?
Well, I think I'm just going to use this other notion, and I've been using it a fair bit lately.
Mm,
I think people are the profession, no matter what we're
mm,
in.
mm,
People are the profession. So the remedies I use are around people. People matter. Thriving matters. And thriving isn't easy. So the way I look at life is, well, there are going to be days where it's, your daily habits are just probably getting just that touch boring, and you think, oh, I won't do it for today, or you go seeking something else that you know. And so part of the remedy, I think, is to look at your habits as find the ones that are making all the difference to you, that line up with your values. So if I talk leadership, well, I actually have to continue to lead myself, right? So I can lead others, so I can inspire or empower others, so I can manage how I'm feeling. And some days that's a battle because Carrie's quite unique. I'm quite unique.
of course you are.
Some days it's a bit of a battlefield with yourself, but it shouldn't be. So I've learnt in the last. I mean, COVID's been a blessing in a way for
Mm,
me.
mm,
I've learnt that I just have to take the time. I would say that I'm not particularly patient. I tend to be more impromptu, great ideas, big thinker, and then I go, why can't we do this? Why can't it go bang, bang, bang? Let's move on to the next thing. So I've learnt to be far more patient than I was, and just to sit back and look at who I'm surrounded with and really where they can inspire me and help me motivate myself, but also how much I can receive love from them and give it out. So the more for me, the more you give out the love, and it doesn't have to be people that you know really well. It can be that you are intentional in how you look at the universe. So a leadership remedy for me is bringing together the magic trifecta, and I think that is culture, education, and business. Bringing those three together, because we need to have a global view. We need to have a bigger view than just our own silo or our own industry that we're in. We actually can learn that collective intelligence that we can learn from each other, share and synthesize what we're learning, put it into action, is only going to just give us so much more richness
I love
in
that.
how we lead. Mm.
Yeah, and I think you're so right with the global aspect, because we've seen now more than ever is that seeing it through a different lens, a different culture, just keeps you more open and less judgmental and curious, as you've always talked about. That curiosity comes in.
Well, I just think this whole notion of growing is, what we learn. We all have different ways of learning. We find out what it is, but we just stretch ourselves for the next bit. But one of the things I know, that is a great thing, is to remain curious. And I'm just going to show you this. It sits up here.
Yeah.
Anyone who loves Dr. Seuss knows.
Yes.
Oh, the places you go. So if you have an inquiring mind, you're going to be the explorer of yourself,
Mm.
of the people around you, of your world, of the world of work that you want to play in. And we explore the people and the capacity of each other, because we're quite unique and absolutely magnificent. So we're a bit like stars twinkling in the constellations above us.
I love it. I love it. So what do you, I mean, you work with a lot of schools and educators. What do you think has been the biggest issue for them, and what's the solution that you give them? Like, what is their pain point at the moment?
Oh, I think the main pain point at the moment is that there's fatigue. There's
Mm,
fatigue about continually having to adapt to change.
right.
Um, and I think the I'm pretty sure the fatigue is around thinking that you have to find the solutions yourself.
Right.
And so that's why I call this thing the collective. It's the something that's bigger than us and that we can learn from each other. And that's why culture, business, and education go together.
And it's so true because you feel sometimes so alone. I mean, I have that because I'm an entrepreneur, but I can imagine, and when I did work in corporate environment, or is that you feel that you have to do it because you might lose your job or people will criticize you, and you do feel alone. So I think that's such great advice to remember that you are a collective and it's okay to ask for help. Is that what you find, that people are afraid to do that? Or
Well, I also think it's they don't know perhaps where to find the help or who to seek out. So I always go back to values, beliefs, and assumptions that we make. So I'm very big on bringing together a coaching habit and some emotional intelligence with leadership work. So it's understanding, yourself so you can understand others. So when you pique that with curiosity, you get innovative thoughts, you get creations that are different to what you could just have thought up yourself. You actually bring it together for the benefit of the whole. So it's for the good of the village. And now
mm.
we've got a global village. I can instantly. I went to India yesterday afternoon. Beautiful, up the north of India, and talked to my beautiful friend Vanitha. And over the last 3 years, I've explored the world. I've gone to Turkey one morning, or I've been in London in the afternoon, or the USA or Canada, and there are so many good people. There are so many people interested in not just making themselves feel important, but being able to pay forward and give forward for others. So the relationships are really, really important. So
And I love how you said that part of the learning of self and being innovation, because sometimes you might be in that place of, I don't know how to ask for help, or not even realizing you do need help. So if you start getting
yes,
those skills internally, then you know what to do that next step. Makes sense.
well, a lot of leaders feel at some point feel that they're an imposter. And
Mm.
I've felt that over the last couple of years. There's sort of waves of things going, how the hell do I do that? I've never done that before. Totally new learning, going, okay, you just need to seek out the right people. And then
Mm.
sometimes you seek out people and you think, actually, they weren't quite right. So what have I learned? So we learn from our fails, our mini fails, our tiny fails as well. And we learn these great resiliency skills.
It is interesting when I was speaking to someone who is a CEO, and what I realized, even from that role as a leader, it's such a lonely role because,
Yeah.
especially as a CEO, because everybody has their own agenda, and there's nowhere you can go to, even unless you get a very good mentor, which I highly recommend. And I think that's so true. It's like you continually have to do the work on yourself and find that support, in the right way after you get that education. Incredible. And this leads me to share about your masterclasses where you have actually interviewed and done presentations around different people in the world and offering. So tell us a bit about that.
Oh my gosh. Those masterclasses are just amazing. So we've brought together culture, business, and education, and we started off in Australia, and then we've just been around the world. So there's 9 there now. We're just about to get another one up, which will be Belize. The stories of the people who are your masters, your presenters there, sharing their leadership secret sauce with you are amazing. So the invite was for leaders who would be willing to share their source, but the complexity of doing this meant that they actually have to like people. So I have a flavour of people are the profession all the way through this, no matter what industry you're in. And so mostly what's happened over the last 3 years with COVID is, yes, people are up front and centre everywhere, whether it's what jobs have changed, whether there's no job there anymore, or you've decided to leave and you've been recontemplating your whole life. So the masterclasses are snapshots. They're fantastic. There's good humour. You get to see firsthand some of the cultural aspects of each of the countries there. It's a super rich resource. and it's, if anyone's sort of wanting to change what they're doing, they're aspiring to leadership in another way. I mean, culture is all around us, and it's not just the culture of a country that's so important, or a tradition. It's all the things that go with it, but it's also the culture within the workplace that
Yeah.
you work,
Oh,
or you,
it's
or the
amazing.
business you have. Yeah,
They're quite extraordinary. They're very unique. So if you get a chance, we'll put the link below so you can have a look at one. And so, how do people find you, Carrie? And what services? Like, what are you doing at the moment?
I do individual coaching. We have programs for leaders and leadership teams, whole of staff. We don't just do education, we're looking at business as well. We have particular programs if you're looking for a refresh on your career. There's that opportunity as well. I have a podcast called Thriving Matters, where I talk to ordinary guys and gals doing extraordinary things in life and work. I'm not a Tony Robbins, but the aspiration is there,
It's a
and the people
wonderful
I
podcast.
interview are just amazing in what they've been able to do. And everyone has a special story, and that's what's
Mm.
underneath this. We all have a story, and we all matter. So carriebenedet.com is the easiest way to find me. Website, I'm on LinkedIn as well, but it's easy to remember. So Carrie, Carrie, just like carry on or carry a bag. You'll remember me. I'm the gal that says just carry a bag, and it's going to be Chanel because you're worth it.
That's right. And don't forget to give it a red hot shot. Amazing. Thank you so much, Carrie. Loved speaking with you, and such great knowledge and wisdom to impart on others on leadership. And look forward to getting together again and talking about something else that we'll be discussing what other remedies you have.
Well,
So
blessings on you, Scarlett. Thank you for doing this. So
thank you.
it's a joy.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye.